Hi, this is Mrs. Arriaga from the library team, and I am going to introduce you to a tool that you will use throughout your 4 years at Moreau, and that's called NoodleBib. It has a really funny name, but I can tell you that it is an incredibly useful tool, and the bib in the name stands for bibliography because it is a tool that helps you format your citations and format your bibliography in its entirety. If you've written a research paper before, or a paper where you cited your sources, you know that citing your sources can be a tedious activity. But it's really important, and there are many reasons to do it. The first, it helps you avoid plagiarizing. The second, it allows your reader to find your research sources. Think of citations as footprints, leading the reader through some of the steps you took to reach your conclusions. 3, citing provides evidence for your arguments and adds credibility to your work by demonstrating that you have sought out and considered viewpoints that are different from your own on a given topic. 4, it is standard practice for scholars and students engaged in written academic conversations. In college, this is just going to be a standard for papers you write. You will always be citing. By citing your sources, you demonstrate that you are responding to this person, agreeing with that person, or adding something to what so-and-so said, and so forth. So here's a story, an interesting story, about how a lack of citations can lead to trouble. This was in the news several years ago. A well-known historian was recently involved in a big plagiarism scandal. After receiving her PhD from Harvard University, she enjoyed a successful career teaching, publishing, making regular television appearances, and more. She even won a Pulitzer Prize in 1995. So what happened? It was discovered that large passages of her book were taken from an earlier work by someone else, with no attributions to the original source. Faced with accusations of plagiarism, the publisher settled with the author of the original work out of court. Her excuse? She says she got her notes mixed up and confused direct quotes from outside sources for her own thoughts. As you can imagine, her reputation as a historian and award-winning author was forever tarnished. So what we're going to do is we are going to create NoodleBib accounts. You will each have your own account. To get to NoodleBib, you will hover over Academics and scroll down to Library. And then you'll scroll down. You can see NoodleBib is the top link, and we'll click on this. And I'll mention that the instructions on how to do this are listed in a step-by-step format in the activity, which you'll do next. But I'm going to walk through it so that you have a visual and so that you've gone through it once with me before you do it on your own. So we are on the NoodleBib. Actually, it's Noodle Tools. Noodle Tools is the overarching organization, and then NoodleBib is what we'll be using. And so we are creating a personal ID. So we would click here. And the subscription type, it is an account linked to a school library subscription or trial. We pay for this every year, so it's important that NoodleBib recognize each one of us as a student at Moreau. And we will click register. This is a one-time registration validation. So you'll only do this for your initial visit to Noodle Tools. So the school library username is Moreau, and the school library password is student. And then you'll click sign in. And now you're brought to the new user registration page. So the first thing about you, yes, you are a student. So you would keep that checked, and you would enter your expected year of graduation. Your personal ID, this is very important. You all have a standard personal ID you will use for NoodleBib. And again, the instructions are going to be listed in the activity, but it is your student ID number followed by your initials. So if my student ID number is 12345, I would then follow it by my initials, and my name is Anne Arriaga, so I would put AA. You can use capitals. You could do AA like that. I prefer to use lowercase, so I'm going to use lowercase. It's not case sensitive. If you have a middle initial that you would use if someone asked you for your initials, you can definitely use your middle initial as well. So your password is another standard in that we'd like you to use your PowerSchool password followed by your initials. So if my password, let's say, is, I would then follow it by my initials, and then I would rewrite that. The last section, easy login retrieval, is if you forget your password or your personal ID and you come to us, we can easily look it up. So you'd enter your initials and the last 4 digits of your phone number. Now, if you have multiple phones, just use the one that you would most affiliate with yourself. And then you would click register. And I can see that I'm now logged in to NoodleBib. I can see they're welcoming me, and that's my student ID number and my initials, which is my username in NoodleBib. And I can see that I do not have any projects. But what will happen is that you will have a variety of projects, and I'm going to sign out of this account to show you what it can look like. So you can see that I have many different projects that I've created. And if I look at one of these projects, I will be taken to the dashboard. So I can see the name of this project is Academic Integrity. I don't have any to-dos. I have the option of sharing this particular project with a teacher. And the reason they'd want to see it is because they want to see my citations, the sources that I've used in this project. So I click on Bibliography, and here I see my citations. It is so easy to use compared to looking in a book, which is what we used to have to do, and identify where this period goes, where the title goes. Do we underline or do we italicize? Do we enter the publication date? Questions like those are now answered by NoodleBib. We just enter the information it asks for. What's great is that when I have finished my bibliography, I can go up here and click on Print Export, and I'll say Print Export to Word. And what happens is it creates my bibliography or my works cited page in an alphabetical manner, all done for me. So I can just copy this and paste it at the end of my paper. When you have a research paper during your freshman year, the library team, will be instructing you on how NoodleBib works, but we just wanted to give you a short overview of what it is like. And this presentation was brought to you by the library team.